Hi there. Today is going to be a very interesting topic, that is how we can quickly and easily set up monitoring on our Azure VMs to check the performance of our Azure VMs or the processes running inside it. In this one, we are going to understand what is VM Insights, how to set up, how can we migrate to Azure Monitor agent from the existing deprecated log analytics agent, and the troubleshooting steps to follow if you are facing some errors in the setup. So let's get started. So this presentation delves into the capabilities of Azure VM Insights, which is a powerful monitoring tool within Azure Monitor designed to optimize your virtual machine's performance and health. So this Azure VM Insight can be used to monitor your VMs for the performance and the dependencies of your workloads which are running inside it. And the source can be your Azure VMs, your VM in the scale sets, or your hybrid VMs, or the on-premises VMs. And it can also be the VMs which are hosted in other cloud. It's a tool within Azure Monitor which allows you to analyze your VM performance and to pinpoint bottlenecks and identify potential issues so that you can check any issues which you are facing. So when we talk about the performance monitoring, we can track the critical metrics like the CPU, memory, disk, and network utilization, providing insight into resource consumptions and possibly pinpoint if issue is in any of the metrics mentioned. We can also use the dependency mapping feature, which basically allows you to visualize the relationship between VMs and their dependency, including running processes, network connection, and open ports. So you can basically check if your VM is connecting to other VMs, which are those VMs, in which port they connect to. You can also check the network connection in details and the running processes, which are crucial to support workloads for your clients. Next, we have pricing. So there is no direct cost which we get when we enable VM Insights feature. All the charges which we get is associated with the underlying infrastructure, like the data collected by the VM Insights will be sent into the log analytic workspace and will be charged according to the ingested and the stored data volume. Also, if you set up an alert and when you get notified, you will also get charged for an alert. Basically, the charge is calculated on when your alert checks on the log data, and whenever you get notified, there is a cost associated with it as well. So we have some limitations. We have predefined metrics. So whatever metrics the VM Insight feature gives you, we can only use those feature and cannot change or add any custom specific event or custom logs. And the VM can only be associated with a single workspace. So the data from monitored VMs for VM Insights can be sent to only one log analytic workspace. It does not support multi-homing. So the prerequisites which we need to have a log analytic workspace where the data will be sent to. We need to have appropriate permissions for DCR as well, because the data collection rule will be created in the Azure with the new Azure Monitor agent. So with the new Azure Monitor agent, a data collection rule gets created. We need to have permissions so that we can create it, and then we need to associate the data collection rule with the Azure Monitor agent running inside the VM. We need to check first if our operating system is supported. So whatever Azure Monitor agent supports in the operating system, all of those is already enabled for VM Insights feature as well. The network configuration, we need to verify that the network settings on your VMs meet the requirement for proper agent communication, because the Azure Monitor agent talks to the public endpoint of the Azure, from where it sends the data from the VM to the workspace. So the next, we have the key components which are involved while we are setting up the VM Insights. We have the log analytic workspace, then we have the Azure Monitor agent which gets installed on the VM, and if we also need a dependency agent feature like the available on the VM Insights, we need to install that as well, and a data collection rule which gets associated with the VM and sends the data to the workspace. So in the diagram you can see we have the Azure Monitor agent running inside the VM and the dependency agent which is optional. That is, it depends on us if we want to use the map feature of the VM Insights. So the dependency agent first send the data to the DCR, and the DCR send the data to the workspace. Azure Monitor agent send the guest performance data from the VM to the DCR and then to the log analytic workspace. We do not modify this DCR because Azure manages it. And also, if you want to have the guest logs or the custom logs feature available from the VM, we need to create a new DCR and associate that VM to the DCR, and that DCR can be modified according to our own use case, then sends the data to the log analytic workspace. Next we have is the troubleshooting steps. So whenever we face issues like the VM Insight feature not getting enabled or the agent not getting installed, so we can follow some pre-steps. We need to check if the VM is running and has been running long enough to collect data. Also, we need the operating system is supported by the agent. You can go to the respective virtual machines page, and in the extension section you can see agent is properly installed or not. So now let's head over to the portal. Let's enable this feature on my VM. Alright, so in my Azure, I've already created two VMs, which is a Windows and a Linux VM. So what I'll do is now I'll enable the VM Insights feature on both of them. So there are currently two ways by which we can enable this. One is we can directly go to the VM, and then we can go to the monitoring, and under monitoring we have insights. You can see the option of enable, through which we can enable it directly. From here it will give me an option to create a data collection rule or use an existing one from here. So I can give the name here my VMs. So whenever we use this feature, the guest performance is always enabled, and the second dependency agent is optional for us if you want to use the map feature of the insights or not. So I'll enable it, and we need a log analytic workspace also, to which it is going to send the data and store it there. So I'll cancel it for now, and I'll enable the feature from the Azure monitor section. So under insights, there is an option for virtual machines. Here you can go to the configure insights. It automatically shows the VMs which are not monitored and where insights is not enabled. Under monitored section, you will see the VMs which are already connected. Under not monitored, I can see my two VMs in which I have to enable. So I can also look upon the other onboarding options, which is enabled for a single VM, or we can use the policies which will automatically enable the VM Insights feature for all the VMs or the VMs which we create later. Right now I'll go to not monitored and I'll click on enable. Here I'll create a new DCR. I'll give a name VM monitoring. I'll also enable the map feature, dependency agent. Before that, I'll create a log analytic workspace where I want to send the data. So I'll search for log analytic workspace, and I'll click on create. Choose the resource group VM Insights, the name VM Insights, and region. Go next and review and create. So let's wait until this is deployed, then we'll select this one. So I'll again go back and refresh. Click on configure insights and enable the name, then select my new created workspace and then create. This will take time because when we enable this feature, Azure automatically enables the managed identity feature if already not enabled. Also install the dependency agent and the Azure monitor agent on the VM. You can see here also that you are billed based on the amount of data which you send to the workspace and the retention settings we have on the workspace. Also it can take between 5 to 10 minutes for the monitoring data to appear. Now I'll enable on the second as well. I'll use the existing one and then configure. So when it's enabled, we can go to the performance section. Right now it will be blank. This all data will fetched from the Azure monitor agent, and the map feature will be fetched from the dependency agent. So let's wait until some data is populated here. Meanwhile, it's getting deployed. If you're using existing deprecated log analytic agent, first what you will need to do is enable the new agent via this way, and then go to your virtual machine under extension, and you will see the deprecated agent here, log analytic agent. You need to uninstall from here. Keep in mind, before uninstalling the legacy agent, make sure that agent is not getting used for any other use case than VM Insights feature. Now you can see the new agent is getting installed, Azure Monitor Linux agent, and the dependency agent which is going to be used for map feature is also getting installed and is in the transitioning state. Let's refresh. Similar would be happening on the Windows as well. So you can see the provisioning is succeeded. The agent and the dependency agent both are installed. So we have the agent installed. We have the log analytic workspace. We also have the DCR. Also keep in mind, do not modify this DCR yourself. Always whenever you need to disable or enable the monitoring, do it from the monitor section or the VM blade itself, because changing this DCR can affect your monitoring. You can go to the resources and can see your both of the machines I just connected. Right, and also if I go to data sources, I can see the performance counters. So I'll not change anything here, I'll go back. So now let's go to the performance, see if we have some details. So in the performance side, we have the CPU of both of the VMs, right? And also we have the available memory which we can see from here. We can see the byte sent rate, networking details. We can see the disk used capacity, which is at the 9 and 6% for both of the VMs. Next, let's move to the map. We have a Windows VM here which is connected right now, and you can see here it is open to the port 443, and we can see the three servers to which it's connecting, right? These are all which are used by Azure for monitoring, and we can see the port 80 as well, which are open and it's connecting. Also the port 53 for domain name resolution, and this is the DNS server used by Azure for domain resolutions. See other details as well, like the port, the properties and the alerts, configuration changes, all of those details we can see from here. So this is how we can use the VM Insights feature available for our VMs to monitor the performance or to see the dependencies which are used by our VMs, like the ports, the IP address, the servers to which it connects. All those details can be viewed from here. Let's go to the Windows VM as well and see these details from here also, respective of your VM. So in here we can go to Insights and then Performance. So we can see here the C drive, the D, the CPU, memory, all those details can be viewed from here as well. We can see the map also. We can use the predefined workbooks as well also, which can give you the graphical view of your VM data. Now let's see, if we want to remove this feature, how can we remove and disable from getting monitored. To do that, we can go from the individual VM as well, but at the large scale, let's go to the Azure monitor and to the virtual machines. In here you'll see the section monitored. Under monitored you can click on enable and you'll see the option here, edit, and then you can turn off the insights. Similarly for the next VM as well. Next, what you can do is go to the VM and check if the extension is removed. If not, you can remove from here as well. And in the Windows VM as well, you can go to the extension and remove one by one. Go to the data collection rule and then delete the DCR if you do not need this one. Also, you can remove the log analytic workspace if you do not have anything else configured. So this is how you can enable the insights feature for your VMs to check the performance and use the map feature to check the dependency for your workloads. This is a very useful feature which we can use to quickly and easily set up monitoring for your VMs. Thanks everyone, and see you in the next one.